So today I wanted to talk with you really quick about anxiety. I suffer from anxiety, and I know probably a lot of you guys do as well. It was kind of funny. Like, I never really thought about anxiety at all, and then all of a sudden it seemed like it just came out of the blue and hit me like a ton of bricks. Is that what happened to you guys? Like, did it seem to come out of nowhere and then all of a sudden it just came at you? Or has it been like a lifelong journey for you to get through and battle through, and maybe comes and goes in and out of your life? So mine seemed to come on quickly, and then after I thought about it, I realized I've actually probably been suffering from anxiety my whole life. And I will say, after suffering from anxiety and bringing up the topic with my friends and especially other moms, I realized that every other person I encountered had anxiety as well. Like, literally every mom I talked to had some form of anxiety as well. And so whether it was mild or, they were just like, I'm so stressed, so I don't know whether it's just become a hot topic now or we just feel more comfortable talking about it, because like maybe moms didn't back in the day. They didn't feel comfortable complaining, or they thought they were complaining, or that type of thing. But mental health wasn't really a thing back in the day. So maybe it's just becoming more common. But really every person I encountered has had some form of anxiety, which made it almost feel like normalized for me. And that journey to acceptance was a lot easier once I realized everybody, or a lot of people I know, suffer from this. But not all anxiety, as you know, is coupled with depression. There's some people who just have anxiety like me and don't have depression. Sometimes it is. So I strictly just have anxiety, and it really showed up about 3 years ago. My daughter had a febrile seizure, and I thought she was dying. Like, I didn't know what was happening. The seizure looks, she was turning purple, and like I thought she was dying, and my heart just stopped, and I thought everything was okay. And then a couple weeks after that, I started getting, I kept saying, I can't breathe. It feels like there's an elephant on my chest. I can't function. There's brain fog. Like, I thought I was gonna pass out and like hyperventilate because I couldn't get air in my lungs, and I just felt like there was something sitting on my chest. And I didn't know what was going on. Like, I honestly thought I had like some type of heart condition or like something happening. So I went to the doctor, and they did all these medical tests. They tested my heart rate. They tested, like all my organs. Like, they did an x-ray of my chest to make sure there wasn't anything blocking anything. And honestly, you guys, after all the tests came back, they were like, nothing is wrong with you. It's mental. And that was really hard to hear. But once I did hear it, I got kind of like a newfound freedom. Like, okay, I suffer from anxiety. They prescribed me some anxiety meds, and then I spiraled. And then I don't know whether it was the meds or I was just like worried about taking the meds. I don't quite know what happened, but after I started taking the meds, I had back-to-back rolling panic attacks. Like, they just wouldn't stop. And I felt like my brain was confused, and like all this stuff came later to understand that I might have had a little bit of serotonin syndrome, which is where you get a little bit too much serotonin in your brain, and it starts doing negative things. So I don't know if that's what happened, you guys, but I could not function. It spiraled out of control, and I just couldn't get a hold of it. And there was a lot of days where I'd be walking through and just not be like functioning. I stopped taking those meds, and they gave me some shorter term meds that would last for like maybe like 4 or 5 hours and then wear off. So they were non-addictive. I didn't have to be weaned off of them, but if they were there if I needed them, which gave me comfort. Like, if I did need to take them, they were there, and I liked they were non-addicting, so I didn't have to like wean off them and all that good stuff that comes with it. So I had to take those for a while, and when I did, they made me feel like I was underwater, and just like, I would look around. I could feel myself, but I could feel myself like being like so slow and like weird, and it was almost like I was disconnected from my body, looking at myself from the outside in. I don't know if that makes sense to some of you. You've been the same way, but honestly, you guys, there were a lot of times where I'd be breathing like this. And I forgot how to breathe. Literally I did. And there's still some moments where like I forget how to breathe and I got to remind myself and I start to panic. Like I could not physically remember how to breathe, and I concentrated on it so much that I started trying to fixate on controlling my breathing, which does not work. Your body's supposed to do that for you. And it was really going south for me, like rolling panic attacks, trying to control my breathing. Like everything was not okay. And I could not get myself out of it. So I decided I need to get help and change, because the way I was going, I could not live like that, you guys. Like I just was like, if I have to live one more day with this anxiety and the way I feel right now, like I can't do it. And I felt like giving up so many times, and I couldn't figure out why this suddenly happened. Like why all of a sudden, like I couldn't get back to normal. I couldn't not focus on my breathing anymore. I couldn't just get a breath of air in. Like I was lost, and I couldn't figure out how to get myself out. And so I'm gonna do another video with you guys, and I'm gonna share what I used and tools I used to really help me with my anxiety. And you know, I'm not gonna say it's cured me, because I think once you do have anxiety, you're aware that it can come back anytime, any place, unless you absolutely know your triggers, which I have still not found out my trigger. They say it was probably triggered because I thought my daughter was dying, and it was my worst nightmare come true. It's the only trigger we can have, we can kind of think of. But you know, also as a kid, I remember getting stomach aches, not wanting to go to school, feeling physically ill. Like when I didn't want to do something, I'd get a headache or a stomach ache. I remember going to the doctor so much as a kid because I'd had physical symptoms. All that kind of made me realize that I've had anxiety for probably a long time, and nobody recognized it until it just burst through at the seams and said, I can't be ignored anymore. You have anxiety, and it's going to take over your life now. So I was very close to like being checked into a mental health facility. I know that because I did not see a way out. So it's really funny because I met a mom and not too long ago, and she was like, gosh, you know, her kid suffers from anxiety. So we were talking about that, and I was like, oh yeah, I had lots of anxiety as a kid. And she's like, really? You don't seem like it. You seem like such a confident, bubbly, positive person. I could never picture you having bad anxiety, or like, you know, bad anxiety as a kid. As an adult, she's like, clearly you grew out of it, because as an adult, you really are like confident, and you know, you do awesome in life and don't have that issue anymore. And on the inside, you know, I don't want to go over my mental health and like all that stuff with her right now, but on the inside, I was just thinking, like, it's so funny how anxiety can mask itself in people. Like, I present that I'm like really okay when sometimes I'm dying on the inside. And isn't that the joke of it all? Like we see people and we're like, oh, they're really like upbeat and positive and outgoing, and they seem so happy. And sometimes they're not. That's the truth of it. The outside doesn't always equal the inside. So yeah, mental health is really scary. It's really hard to combat on your own, but hopefully in the next video, I'll give you some tips for what worked for me personally. And, you know, I just kind of wanted to take this time to talk about anxiety. If you suffer from it, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're doing, how you are, especially through COVID. It's been really, really difficult to not have anxiety kind of jump up again in your life constantly. So homeschooling the kids and being trapped inside, and especially if you're an extrovert, you know, being inside and away from people all the time. And just the news is bad, 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 and our world seems bad. So I just want to hear from you. If you suffer from anxiety, how you are, your story, I'd love to know it. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this and more videos of me, please hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. I'd love to meet you guys and know your story as well. So I'll make another video about anxiety and what tips and stuff has helped me, but this one's more just like discussing it, telling you my story of anxiety and what I went through, and kind of how it just popped up and made it the giant monster that is anxiety, just kind of creeped into my life until it couldn't be ignored anymore and took over. So now I'm doing a lot better, but it takes work every day. I will not lie about that. So anyway, all right guys, follow-up video. Let me know about you, how you're doing. Check in. All right, bye.